Welcome to Keepin It Comic. I'm GoofyRhexxi. In today's video, we're going to be diving into the awesome world of Miguel O'Hara, also known as Spider-Man 2099. With a new movie Across the Spider-Verse right around the corner, it's the perfect time to dig into Miguel O'Hara's story. And trust me, this guy's got quite a backstory here with a mind-blowing origin, some seriously dope powers, and a family history that rivals The Young and the Restless. Hold on, do people still watch Young and the Restless? Oh God, I feel so old right now. There's definitely a ton to unpack here about this web-slinging hero, so if you're ready for it, guys, let's dive right into it right now. Now, first off, let's talk about the origin story here. So Miguel comes from this alternate universe called Earth 928, which is set in the future after the heroic age in the year, you guessed it, 2099. In this timeline, we've got older heroes who've been remade as futuristic versions of themselves. Some of them are pretty cool, while others just probably should never have seen the light of day, if you ask me. Now, Miguel himself is a brilliant guy working at this massive corporation called Alchemax. His job is to create these super soldiers called the Corporate Raiders, which, to be honest, doesn't really sound that scary. Like, what are they going to do? Beat me with their tie? Whatever. But here's where things get crazy, right? When one of the trial subjects dies, Miguel decides that he's had enough and quits his gig over at Alchemax. Now, his boss, who also happens to be his dad, his name is Tyler Stone. Miguel did not know that this was his dad at the time. Some stuff happened with his mom. Gotta talk to her about it. Either way, Tyler Stone wants to keep Miguel. He's determined to keep him. So he secretly spikes Miguel's drink with this highly addictive drug called Rapture, which, let me tell you, is no joke. This stuff binds with your DNA, making you an addict for life. It was the way that Tyler Stone was able to control his employees to do whatever he wanted them to do. Desperate to free himself from the Rapture addiction, Miguel does some pretty wild stuff. He tries to rewrite his own genetic code to rid himself of the drug, but here is the catch. His jealous friend, Aaron Delgado, pulls a sneaky move. He sabotages the experiment by splicing Miguel's DNA with that of a spider. Yeah, you heard that right. And guess what happens? He definitely gets rid of the addiction to Rapture. Then he also ends up gaining these spider-like powers, which then kind of ratchet things up a little bit here because Aaron freaks out, tries to kill Miguel, but there's a little bit of a sort of confrontation. There's an explosion that happens, and Miguel tries to save Aaron, but unfortunately cuts him with this newly acquired pylons that he just received. And unfortunately, Aaron falls to his death, which I guess a lot would say he probably deserved that. Either way, the craziness doesn't stop there. Miguel finds out that Alchemax has sent out this bounty hunter named Venture after him because his dad, Tyler Stone, wanted to do some research on him. Quick on his feet, though, Miguel creates a makeshift costume out of this indestructible Day of the Dead outfit, which comes in handy against Venture. Now, even though Venture manages to capture him briefly, Miguel finds a way to escape. This guy is definitely resourceful for sure. And get this, Tyler Stone himself shows up a couple of days after that at Miguel's house with a crew of public eye officers. The thing is, like, Tyler doesn't even realize that Miguel has transformed. He's still in the dark about it and start to threaten him. So what does Miguel do? Miguel decides to head back to Alchemax because he's such a compliant person. No, seriously, he just wanted to not get arrested because he was afraid that Tyler would pin something on him for using Rapture illegally. So he wanted to kind of keep things on the wraps and felt it was better to stay cordial and just go back to Alchemax. Miguel later on finds out that the explosion that happened at Alchemax was actually blamed on Aaron Delgado, who Tyler actually thought was Spider-Man. But of course, we know the truth now that Miguel O'Hara was Spider-Man himself. So that helps Miguel to be able to keep that identity under wraps. Now, the whole situation with Rapture and the experiment gone wrong led Miguel to turn against Tyler Stone and Alchemax, working from within. And of course, as you know, with great power comes great responsibility. So he embraces his newfound abilities as Spider-Man 2099 to bring down the corrupt practices of Alchemax and seek justice for those who have been harmed by the company's actions. It's definitely noble, but of course, the story does not stop there. We're going to talk about so much more in regards to his storyline. All right, so in regards to Spider-Man 2099 storyline, a lot of what we're going to talk about here today is going to be from his original comic, the Spider-Man 2099 comic, which has 44 issues. I'm actually going to leave a link down below in the description where if you want to be able to grab and get that for a read. It is available on Amazon, so I'll leave my Amazon link down below where you can actually read it. It's very good, and that's if you really want to get an idea as to who Spider-Man 2099 is, that's really kind of the recommended comic, in my opinion, that you should read. All right, one of the storylines from that comic is actually called Fall of the Hammer. So picture this, it's the year 2099, and out of nowhere, a floating city called Valhalla shows up in the sky. And get this, the folks on board claim to be gods. Kind of cray-cray, right? The heroes of 2099 smell something fishy and decide to uncover the truth about Valhalla. But here's where it gets even more intense. The Thor Corps, which is a group of Thors from different timelines, show up in 2099, wanting to get their hands on Thor's 2099's hammer, who also at the time was called Thunderstrike, which I don't know, somebody really should have workshopped that name. That wasn't the best one. Either way, it's an all-out battle between the Thor Corps and the heroes of 2099, including Spider-Man 2099. There's also a hero called Ravage. There's the X-Men of 2099. There's Doom of 2099, who was actually working on the good side for once. Punisher 2099. It's kind of an all-out brawl, but eventually the heroes uncover the shocking truth, and Valhalla is nothing more than a hoax, which was actually cooked up by Alchemax themselves. So crazy plot twist. Thor Corps ends up getting their hammer. They go along on their way, living life peacefully, or not. Next, I want to talk about the story here with Spider-Man 2099. There's Venom 2099. There's Vulture 2099. There's Peter Parker. Let's get into it. This storyline stretches across several issues. There is also special editions. It's a massive roller coaster of a story here. So Miguel O'Hara and Peter Parker find themselves in a crazy situation where they've swapped places. That is right. They have swapped places in terms of their timeline here. So this actually happens because there were these experiments that were going on the temporal energy generators, which was done by Fujikawa Industries from the present day where Peter Parker's from, and of course Alchemax, which is of course in the future timeline where Miguel is. So Peter Parker is now in Miguel's shoes, taking on a Vulture 2099 from New York, which looks very familiar to the Vulture that we're actually seeing in one of the trailers here, while Miguel is actually facing off against Eddie Brock's Venom in the present day. But here's the kicker, this is kind of dangerous because they realize that the whole time travel shenanigan could lead to the end of the heroic age, you know, when everything goes to hell. The culture, the technology, all of it, right? And then Venom 2099 shows up out of nowhere talking about this secret connection that he has to Miguel. So 2099 is actually Kron Stone, and Kron Stone is the son of Tyler Stone. Now, Kron Stone was supposed to be dead, but it turns out that he did die, but it was the Venom symbiote that then revived him. That Venom symbiote was actually left in the present day and then made its way to the future in 2099. I'm probably not explaining that very well, and I'm so sorry. But either way, Kron Stone, the son of Tyler Stone, ends up being Venom 2099. Essentially, his half-brother is now a villain. And trust me, this family drama gets even scarier. So now we know Tyler Stone, who had an affair with his mama, is now Miguel's father, and now Kron Stone, half-brother of Miguel, is also Venom 2099. It just gets crazy from there. But the next storyline that I want to talk about is the Spider-Verse crossover. This is an epic event that brings together Spider-Men and Spider-Woman from different realities to take on a seriously dangerous threat called Morlun and his family, the Inheritors. So these guys are these vampiric beings who feed on mystical energy, or feed on the mystical energy of totems, which totems are basically like the bridges between animals and people. I'm probably once again not explaining that very well, but that's the totems that they would be going after here in this situation are spider people across the multiverse. It's a race pretty much basically against time where there's multiple spider people that are involved. There's Gwen Stacy, there's Spider-Woman, there's Man Spider, there's the Spider, there's Ghost Spider, who's Gwen Stacy. I said that twice. Spider-Man 2211. There's a lot of spider people. Miles is a part of this as well. And of course, Spider-Man 2099 plays a major role here because out of all of the Spider-Man, he has the most experience between multiversal travels and time travels as well. So he plays a massively big part here. So very similar to what we're kind of seeing across the Spider-Verse, where Spider-Man 2099 is gathering all of these these spider people building this spider society to then be able to try to protect the multiverse. Essentially, it was kind of a story like that, but very different in a lot of ways. I definitely would check it out, and I'll leave a link down below too so that you guys can take a look at what that storyline is, because it's actually a really good read. There's also one other villain that I wanted to highlight, and this is Goblin 2099. Now, this villain right here makes an appearance in Spider-Man 2099 issue number 39. So if you're gonna grab that original comic, you'll see this play out here. He was causing some chaos in the streets of Nueva York. Goblin 2099 is actually a member of the Public Eye, which is a police force controlled by the Alchemax Corporation. Goblin was initially tasked with capturing Spider-Man 2099, but Goblin 2099's true motivations and agenda gradually come to light as the series progresses. And also, his true identity was believed to be Gabriel O'Hara, who is Miguel's brother. So if you're counting this down, evil villain dad, half brother Venom, and now technically kind of half brother Gabriel are all villain characters. It's absolutely insane, this storyline here, this family background. It's pretty crazy. So very interesting, like I said, just the history and the background here with Spider-Man 2099. But let's talk about some of his powers. All right, so let's talk about the powers of Spider-Man 2099. There's a lot of range and some impressive powers that he has there. Some of them are, of course, similar to other Spider-Man, right? But because of that genetic spider splicing there, he does have the superhuman strength like everybody else does have the ability to climb walls just like everybody else does. One of the things I think are really cool about him is those little artificial web wings that you see under his arms. Those are actually really good to see. But of course, he's a Spider-Man that can essentially kind of fly, right, and can keep up with characters like Vulture, so that actually works out pretty well in his favor. He's very highly acrobatic as well. He does have these talons. So we talked about this a little bit earlier, where he has these talons right under his fingertips and also under his toes. Whenever he tries to touch his body, they retract. But of course, in close hand-to-hand combat, he's pretty dangerous. You've actually seen some of this already in the Across the Spider-Verse film. So definitely some good veracity that you can get from those talons. He also does have healing, accelerated healing. So like your traditional Spider-Man, but this one's a little bit different. Because of his genetic mutation, he wasn't bitten. The DNA was spliced with it. So therefore his healing is a little bit more accelerated, where he can actually heal from injuries a little bit faster than some of the other Spider-Man. Also, he has this indestructible suit too. That Day of the Dead outfit suit that he has on is indestructible. He actually mentioned in the comics where he said, there was somebody who asked him, hey, why didn't you destroy the suit? And he said, I can't, because the suit itself is actually indestructible. He also has these large canine teeth that secrete a paralyzing venom, which was actually what freaked out Aaron when he first saw him. So that's actually something to mention too as well. But like I said, it can paralyze his enemies and his foes. Unlike most versions of Peter Parker or other Spider-Man, right, 2099 has the ability to create his own organic webbing, which is shot from the back of his hands. So this webbing serves for various purposes, right? For swinging, it can immobilize enemies, it can create web-based weapons and traps. So a lot more versatility that you have with him, because he doesn't have to manufacture the webbing that he does have, which definitely makes him a little cooler, if you ask me. But he's definitely a formidable hero. I'm probably forgetting some stuff here. He does also have advanced vision too. That's also another thing that he does, because that's one of the ways that he was able to notice Venture when he tried to kidnap him or bring him back to Alchemax. He had advanced vision to be able to kind of see and notice that Venture was actually after him. So there's so much more. I'm paraphrasing a lot because I don't want to go on this long 40-minute soliloquy talking about Spider-Man 2099. Don't forget to check out the links in the description for all those those readings, those comic book readings that you can grab there. Also, of course, check out our we're going to throw some links for you to look at some of the other videos that we talked about here on the channel as it pertains to Across the Spider-Verse. Like, what is Miguel O'Hara hiding from Miles? Why does Miguel O'Hara have this tension against Miles? I'm going to leave that in the description as well so you can take a look at it. Like and subscribe for more on the channel. Hit the notification bell. Let us know, what would you like for us to cover next on this channel? I was going to take your opinion there too as well. But thanks so much. And as always, guys, thanks for kicking it. We're keeping it comic.